we got to prepare this body for a baby. Let's talk about the biggest way we're doing that, and that's nutrition. Hey y'all, welcome back to Trimester 0. If you're new here, I'm Martisa, a Black, queer, feminist, homemaker, gardener, and hopefully soon to be first-time mama. On this channel, I share my preconception journey, all things queer family building, wellness, and joy. If you're down for this content, please like and subscribe to help me reach more folks like us and build this community. So like I said, this is my trimester 0 or my preconception phase, and today we're discussing nutrition. First off, I've always been a wellness girly. In my early 20s, I'd flip-flop between being vegan, vegetarian, eating meat, loved me a good green juice, and taught yoga full-time. Over the years, my nutrition ethos has evolved to eating a whole food diet and prioritizing ancestral foodways. For me, that looks like purchasing the best quality food my money can buy, often organic or local and pesticide-free, eating grass-fed, pasture-raised animal products, and sustainably wild-caught fish. As a Black person, it also means not shying away from the wisdom of Black American foodways and making sure that those foods are a consistent part of my diet. I say all of that to say, when it comes to tweaking my nutrition plan in preparation for conception, I wasn't super far off. But let me tell you, my holy grail resource has been Real Food for Fertility by Lily Nichols and Lisa Hendricks Jack. They take a food-first approach to optimizing fertility, teaching readers the best foods and intervention to improve nutrient intake. The focus is on prioritizing fertility-enhancing food and nutrients and eating an optimal macronutrient split. What that looks like is their recommendation is to focus on protein, getting about 1.5 to 2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, depending on your activity levels. For us United States fam, yeah, that's some conversion math, but that's not my bag, so go ahead and hit up Google for a calculator. They also recommend that about 15 to 30% of your daily intake be carbs and 40 to 45% of your daily intake of food be quality fats. My other greatest resource is my functional medicine doctor and her recommendations for optimizing my labs. And I'll dive deeper into that and what that looks like in a later video. So based on Real Food for Fertility, here are the main food categories that I'm focusing on. The first being local pasture-raised eggs. My goal is to eat about 2 to 3 a day because they're super high in choline, which is critical for babies' neural tube development, and it's important to have those choline stores upped. They're also an excellent source of protein and healthy fats. Another is bone broth and slow-cooked meats. Bone broth is liquid gold. So rich in collagen, high in protein, and amazing for your skin and gut. I batch home make this, which is way cheaper than store-bought, and you can really control the ingredients. We eat a lot of slow-cooked meats already, especially in the winter. And when you slow-cook meat on the bone, you're actually extracting so much of those critical nutrients, and that's what makes it so good for you. Another thing is organ meats. Organ meat is a nutrient powerhouse, insanely high in choline and folate. Now let's get real. I don't love eating it straight, but one of my favorite ways to do it is, and to get it into my diet consistently, is through ancestral blend ground meats. When it's mixed into your ground beef or ground chicken and you use it as you normally would, you truly do not taste the organ meat taste in it. So it's a fabulous way to get it in your diet and just a quick and easy swap. Another biggie is fatty fish and seafood. I'm aiming for about 8 to 12 ounces a week. That's salmon, oysters, mussels, clams, shrimp, you name it. All are high in omega-3s while being low in mercury. And yes, I eat the skin on my salmon. If you crisp that bad boy up, so good. I'm also really trying to focus on fermented foods, trying to get some sort of ferment in my system daily. My go-tos are yogurt, a raw aged cheese, fermented veggies. I'll often throw some fermented carrots on top of dressed greens in the morning. And the probiotics in your fermented food are so good for your gut health, which is the foundation for so much. Also, full fat dairy, if you can tolerate it. It's super nutrient dense. I found a local farmer to buy raw pasture-raised milk from. It's unpasteurized, so it has more beneficial enzymes, probiotics, and bioavailable nutrients. Now I know raw milk isn't for everyone, but it works for me and my body. And I'm not a big milk drinker, so I usually use it to make my yogurt each week, add to smoothies, make herbal lattes, and cook with it. Last but certainly not least is emphasizing a lot of variety in my fruits and vegetables. I've heard experts say to shoot for 30 different plant species in your diet each week. Now, I am not there yet, but I try to get as much diversity as possible and definitely take advantage of in-season produce when possible. Now, some foods I'm looking to avoid based off of the book, Real Food for Fertility. That would be vegetable oils. This is a really big one. They contribute to inflammation and deplete the good fats our bodies needs. I'm also being really cautious of refined carbs, sugars, soy, and minimizing caffeine and alcohol intake. So what does this look like in practice? Let me walk you through a typical day of eating. Breakfast is always my biggest and most balanced meal. I try to eat within 30 minutes of waking to support balanced blood sugar for the rest of the day. I'll start with some greens dressed in olive oil, some vinegar, and then I'll have my 2 to 3 eggs, some meat, maybe some like sausage or leftover protein from dinner the night before, and either yogurt with fruit or a carb like sourdough toast and a small side of fruit. My goal is ample protein, fat, and fiber and to like really get all that color on the plate that I can. Lunch usually depends, but I'm always prioritizing protein and enough fat and carbs to keep me satiated. I love a big green salad with tinned fish and colorful veggies, or a dense bean salad. If you've not heard of them, go ahead and hit up Violet Witchell for that inspiration. She is the dense bean salad queen. Dinner is where we get to be creative and lean into what we're craving. My spouse is usually the one that makes dinner, and it's where our like joy comes from. Like joy is a massive nutrient for me, and I don't skimp on it. So at dinner, we're really leaning into that. With that being said, we're both cooks and our palates naturally kind of lean towards green veggies, braised or roasted meats, fish, and we primarily cook from scratch. So even when we're indulging, we're still making sure that the ingredients are really good and whole quality. For snacks, which I do love a good snack, it's usually a piece of fruit, a mini charcuterie situation, some yogurt, or a chopstick. I also use the plate method as a loose guide, which looks like ideally 50% of the plate should be veggies, 25% protein, and 25% carbs. Now, that doesn't have to be a perfect model, but it just gives me a little bit of an idea of how to set my plates up. Another big nutrition goal for me is to make sure I'm stabilizing my blood sugar. So I utilize strategies like eating my veggies as the first thing that I eat in a meal, making sure my carbs are paired with fat and protein to make sure my blood sugar is staying relatively stable throughout the day. A great resource for this is Glucose Revolution by Jessie. I should have looked up her last name, but on the internet, on Instagram, she's the Glucose Goddess. I'm sure you've already seen her somewhere or at some point, but she's a great resource for that. And let us take a quick little deep breath, right? Let's just woosah and talk about perfection. And what I have to say to that is fuck it. I'm not looking for pressure or for perfection from this. Like, this life is too precious. This journey is too precious. And there's so much joy that this part of my life should bring me. So I'm not going to undermine that by trying to make sure that every plate, every meal is perfect. Like I said, joy is a nutrient, and joy is something that calms my nervous system, gives me like just the feel good chemicals. So I do my best not to overanalyze or to over perfect how I eat, how I move, and how I move throughout this process, because that would just rob me and create more stress than is necessary. Instead, I really want to lean into listening to my body, asking myself, how do I feel? What's giving me energy? What makes my body feel good? And really just like letting that guide me, because that's the most important piece of data that I have. And that's it. I mean, that was enough. So in the next video, I'll be sharing how I track my cycle and what I'm learning about my body through that. If you want, drop a little comment. Let me know, what's your relationship with food right now? Are you trying to shift anything? What's bringing you joy on your plate? And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.